What is up? Welcome to Straight to the Dome. We're here for our Michigan preview show. What's going on, Bray?
What's up? How you
And
doing?
I'm Augie, of course. And today we got a little special treat, Mr. Bill Beck from the Elkhart Truth. How we doing, sir?
Greeting, guys. Go
Glad-
Irish.
That's right. Glad to have you with us this week, Bill. Looking forward to talking some football, talk some Michigan, talk some Notre Dame. Heck, we might even throw some high school football at you. We're going to throw
Oh, my
everything at you.
Bring it, guys. Bring it. Hey, sudden change. I'm ready to go.
That's right. How are those Jimtown Jimmies looking? I got to ask that.
Jimtown Jimmies need some offense, guys. They got to find some offense.
They've needed offense since we stepped off the hallowed grounds.
I'm telling you, the new offensive line. They got to just figure out what they can do. That's what they haven't done yet. They haven't figured out what they're good at yet, and it may take them about half the year to do that.
Well, it's Jimtown football. They'll be back. They'll be in semi-state before you know it anyways.
Week 10's when it counts. Week
That's
10's
right.
when it counts.
That's right. But, hey, we're here to talk some Notre Dame, Michigan football. Any thoughts to lead it off, Bray?
Well, first let's introduce Bill to our fellow fans.
Oh, sure. Remind me.
Bill is. I actually did. Augie, I believe you did. You had an internship with him, correct, in high school?
No, I wasn't able to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, I interned with Bill Beck in high school back when my intended major was sports communication. Along the broadcasting side. I learned a lot from him. We did a lot of practice things, and I was able to shadow him while he did some live basketball games that he did some commentary for, because they televised like the game of the week essentially in high school. Bill and I mean, we all three go back. We know each other. He's a Jimtown guy where we went to high school. He used to cover, last year he fully covered Notre Dame, so he has the inside on a lot of things, and now he's taking a step away from that essentially, because the newspaper wants to cover more of the high school aspect and make it more better coverage, I guess. And I guess Bill, you can elaborate on that a little bit more if you'd like.
Well, yeah, it's just taking the interactive coverage we've done with the Elkhart Truth and eTruth.com and Rachel Turlock and the great stuff she does with Notre Dame, and trying to take that kind of digital, interactive, Twitter type based interaction with the fans, using it more videos, more short, quick information things, plus some really good essay type stories to go along with that, but take away some of the nuts and bolts out of the print and put them into more of a digital form for an audience that's really growing right now. And it's the ultimate teaching old dog new tricks kind of stuff, like me sitting here doing a Google Hangout with a couple of college guys.
That's
right.
So now, like you kind of said, she still pretty much runs a lot of things right through you as far as what she's doing as far as covering Notre Dame.
Yeah, we talk every day, multiple times. We talk early in the week about how we're going to set up a week. We talked about how we'd set up last week with Rice and how we want to attack each week. And we don't want to do things that every other newspaper guy out there is trying to do. We want to try to find some sort of different niche that really attracts the readers online. And you've seen how Notre Dame just resonates on the online. Notre Dame football places, things like that, just built for online communities. And anything we post, any kind of a story we post, goes nuts on our website. So that's because of the interaction we get from outside, people feeding into us through social media, through Twitter, through Facebook, and then through the other links that other newspapers and other magazines use. They all kind of link through each other sometimes, and we get a lot of great feedback that way.
Very nice. Bill, did you see the game last weekend?
Yeah, I sat through almost the whole thing, and I can't stand NBC, guys. I'm sorry, they wear me out. I was a quarter into the game, and Dan Hicks and Doug Flutie were wearing me out. They're just flat wearing me out. And I can't go to radio because Don Criqui and Alan Pinkett don't do it for me either, so I had to suck it up on TV. But football-wise, it was fun. I have some thoughts on what I think they need to be really better at this week, but we can talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I did watch it. I was entertained. I was entertained by what they did. I kind of thought Rice would be a little bit better, but they weren't.
That's what I thought. I was kind of surprised at how lackluster they were. But did you see anything you thought oh man, we like you said, we got to get better for next week.
Well, here's the deal, guys. They passed the ball really well, but how did they pass the ball? Everett Golson winging it down the field 50 and 60 yards at guys and outbeating coverage that was playing terrible football. I want to see you're not going to be able to do that against Michigan. You're not going to just be able to roll out, stand back, and throw it 65 yards and get receivers behind the safeties and cornerbacks. Can you throw within the confines of the offense? Can you throw short routes? Can you throw the outs? Can you throw some seam things? Can you get the tight end going up, down the seam or down the hash marks, things like that? It just every time I turned around, it was Everett Golson standing back and just chucking it at like, that's not going to work this week, guys.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I didn't think of it the way you're thinking of. I thought of it as Everett's making plays, but when you think about it like that, I mean, he's going to have to play a totally different game to beat Michigan. He's going to have to scramble, and he's going to have to, make broken plays great, but he's not. It's not Rice that's going to be chasing him. It's a whole nother level.
Exactly, and you're right. Everett Golson made the plays because Rice did a great job of just handing them opportunities to make plays like that. But you're not going to get 3 or 4 times where you can just throw 50-yard passes over everybody's head and catch wide open receivers. They had one dropped. Who dropped the pass?
Procise.
I mean, he could have had 4 of those in that game. I mean, just huge plays. I mean, he could have had 300 yards of offense on about 4 or 5 pass plays in that game. It's great that you can make that play against Rice, but I don't think you're going to get those kind of opportunities against Rice. You've got to be able to do something more uniformed and orchestrated than that. Running and then throwing short, throwing long as part of the offense.
I'm interested to kind of hear what you have to say about our running backs. If you know anything about me or seen my Twitter,
Greg Bryant
is just on another level compared to what Folston's with him, but I don't understand why. I feel like we're starting our third-string running back with Cam, and I understand Cam's the dependable guy, but to me, Greg Bryant really stood out. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's what I thought going in. One of the big problems I had with them last year, guys, and tell me if you think the same thing, but the running back by committee thing kind of wears me out after a while. I think you can do that to a certain level, but I think you need to have 2 go-to guys. If you need to rotate a third guy in there to give the other guy, but I think you need 2 go-to guys. Bryant's good, Folston's good, but then you got Cam McDaniel. What are you going to do with Cam McDaniel? I mean, how many touches are you going to be able to give 3 running backs in the course of an NCAA Division I college football game?
Exactly.
I like them all, and I'm not gonna sell the house on Greg Bryant just yet, but you see glimpses of what he can do. I mean, he does have a burst. They use the word on TV a lot, burst, explosiveness, and you can see that burst when he hits the corner, guys. But he's not. Is he going to get you the tough yard like a Cam McDaniel's going to? Is he going to stick his nose in there and get you 4 yards when it's 3rd and 4, you need 4.5? Are they going to get you that 4.5 tough yards? Are they going to get you goal line yards when they're going to put 8 men in the box? It would be nice if they just settled on a couple go-to guys. I don't know. That is just me. Maybe I'm off base with that.
Oh, I completely agree with you. I think you get the 2 go-to guys with maybe Bryant and Folston, and then bring Cam as your third down, maybe a situational back. Like you said, he's that guy that's going to stick his nose in. He's going to do the dirty work, but we can't have that every play.
No.
This isn't Big Ten football, smash mouth football anymore. This is a different game.
And I think with Golson back running the show, Golson is the kind of quarterback that if you looked at what Brian Kelly did at Cincinnati, this is the kind of quarterback they want to have. That guy who can run out of that shot, that pistol, that short gun like that, take the ball, run the ball, drop back, pass, and everything's tempo. They use that word a lot out there. Tempo, tempo, tempo. Get lots of plays. Tommy Rees could not do that. That wasn't his game.
No.
Everett Golson is.
And to elaborate a little bit more on your mindset of having 2 guys maybe be our, like with Cam coming in, being a third down back, kind of like you said, Augie. I mean, obviously he's our best pass protector. So I mean, that whole conversation that you guys just had just makes total sense to me. Why can't we have a 1-2 punch with Bryant and Folston, and Cam, our best pass protector, our probably most reliable, consistent, dependable back. Why not let him be our third down back that can, do the little things for us?
Makes complete sense to me. I mean, if they're going to run two guys in there, the idea is to keep that defense from being able to situationally swap out and substitute. Get a fresh guy in there constantly. You've got a fresh running back. And more of the big-time schools, you look at them, nobody is settling on the single Adrian Peterson kind of back where they're going to give him to that guy 30 times a game. Big-time football doesn't do that anymore. They just don't. Everybody's got two guys, and they're recruiting multiple guys because they know coming in that I'm going to get to play. I might not get to play full-time, but I'm going to share the load with this guy. I'm going to share the load with Greg Bryant. So you got Folston and Bryant. That's the way colleges are selling it now. They're selling, hey, come in and be part of this program this way. Nobody's going to get this. Isn't Earl Campbell, and guys back in the day like that. And you could slug the ball to a guy and give it to him 35 times and grind out with one guy all day. That just doesn't work anymore.
Game is changing, and like we said, you almost have to have at least two, and you do see a lot of teams going to three, but I think two would be good fit for our offense, and having Cam be in that situational back.
And you talked about guys, Cam McDaniel. There is a huge purpose for him. He's great in goal line. He's great if you want to kind of change things up. He's great if you want to just grind it out. If it's a 10-point lead and it's the middle of the fourth quarter and you've got the ball deep in your territory, why not give it to Cam McDaniel 4 times? If he gets you 3.5, you're moving the chains. He's a great chain mover.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to me, Cam isn't exactly your ideal spread style, like spread offense running back. So moving into that situational role to me would just make 100%.
Yeah, that's not his game. That's not his forte. He doesn't fit the exact mold. Again, if you look what Brian Kelly has wanted to do since day one, but never had the bodies when he first got here. Now he's got the kind of backfield personnel that he can run that offense. And I really go back, if you can YouTube and find some of those games from his last couple years at Cincinnati and what he did at Cincinnati and how fast they were in the backfield and how the quarterback, they even rotated quarterbacks that last couple years, I believe. I can't remember the names, but they went dual quarterbacks as well as dual running backs. They were very successful. What'd you guys think? What'd you guys think of that game overall? Or aside?
I looked at Everett. I kind of was on Bray's side. I looked at Everett making plays, but when you come in and bring that, that different point of view, I was like, man, he's kind of right. Now that I'm looking back on it, I don't want to get concerned about it, but I'm also concerned a little bit with last week's game that people are getting a little too excited, a little too fast. Because I don't think Rice was a good, it wasn't something to compare to. But
no, it was not a great gauge. But,
no.
But again, he made big plays downfield. I won't take that away from the guy. He's got a cannon for an arm. I mean, if you listen to the guys on TV again, let's see. Pro Size is one of the fastest guys in the country. Will Fuller is one of the fastest guys in the country. Everett Golson's got one of the best arms in the country.
Yeah.
Everybody had the best something or other in the country. Hey, guys, it's one game.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's probably in their contract.
Superlative. You got to say 3 Notre Dame players are one of the best in the country, no matter who they are. Find 3 guys.
And pay us $20 million a year.
Yeah, pretty much.
You watch, by midseason, Greg Bryant will be one of the best running backs in the country. So.
He'd be he's already in the Heisman race in Bray's eyes.
Oh yeah, right behind Everett Golson.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 punch right there.
It's just mail it in. Just forget it, guys.
Hey, I never said that. I just
what would you think? What would you think of Greg Bryant in a single back offense where it was a true back? Think of a Greg Bryant in a run-oriented offense.
I said on the last show that there's no reason to me why that guy should not get 25 carries a game. At least, I mean, the dude's a go-to, just explosive player, and to me, like you have to get people like that the ball, just like you have to get the ball to Will Fuller downfield, just like your offense revolves around Everett making plays outside the pocket. You have to get dynamic players the ball, And when Mike Floyd was there, we got Mike Floyd the ball. It just goes along. He's that player that just needs the ball to make plays, and I just don't. It would just make more sense to me to give that guy 25 carries and let everybody else kind of fall in. Give Cam a situational 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, pass blocking, dependable guy on your 3rd downs, and let Folston come in and get 12 to 15 carries as well.
Well, but they're gonna if they run 40 offensive run plays, they're gonna split it up. 15, 15, and 12. They're going to balance. They're going to break it out that way if they can, or somewhere in that equal balance. Nobody's going to have that 22, 23, 25 carry game. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I agree with that, but that's just something I would just like to see. And,
oh, sure, I do too.
Yeah, and looking at when you look at the box score, I understand we didn't really. It felt like we were playing fast and running a lot of plays, but we really only ran like 60 plays, and when we were talking about Greg Bryant only having 8 carries, that doesn't sit well with me. Only 8 carries. He has the same amount of carries as Cam, and that just doesn't sit well with me.
Yep, 8 carries for Greg Bryant, 8 carries for Cam, 12 for Folston. I believe Folston got a lot at the end of the game too.
You getting those stats? I was just getting ready to call those up and look at it. So, okay, so you're quicker than I am. Good man. I couldn't remember what it was, but it was pretty balanced, right?
Yeah, it was 8 Bryant, 8 Cam. Bryant was 8 for 71, Cam was 8 for 40, and Folston was 12 for 71. But I'm pretty sure Folston, if I remember correctly, he got a lot towards the end of the game. So,
how many offensive plays did they run? Roughly total plays.
I don't know. I would have to find it. I don't.
Oh no, that stat sheet is hard to find on that. It's a very lengthy stat sheet.
Yeah. We had 22 passing attempts with Everett, 8 carries. I'm looking for it. I can't do that math though. I'll look for it and I'll get back to you on it.
No problem. I'm just curious what it was. Oh, here you go.
We had 42 rushes and 22 pass plays. So, obviously you don't count punts and whatnot. So. Let me make sure the pass plays are right. Yeah, 22 and 42. So we're in 64 plays.
Okay, and you know what? In that offense, that's not a lot of plays.
I was gonna say that seems not like a lot. Not what they want.
No, I think they want to run. I think they want to run 75.
Right.
80 plays if they can get that. 64 doesn't seem like a lot of plays.
But also, you probably think towards the end of the game, the offense was a little more slowing down with the reserves in, so maybe that's
absolutely.
Why. So.
Absolutely.
And we had big plays. We had quick drives of multiple drives, like under a minute scoring. 2 of them, I think.
Very true.
Well, yeah, you're chucking it down the field. So here. What were their What were their pass plays? 75 or 65 and whatever,
Will Fuller was 75. Procise was 53.
There you go.
And that was Rice. Wrong team. Yeah, those were the 2 passing.
And those were 2-play drives.
Yeah, because one to Fuller was right after Rice scored that touchdown.
That was the first play. So that was a 1-play drive. To Procise right before the half, I think that was
2 plays, 53 yards in 16 seconds.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got some quick drives in there, and that's probably why. So you could see that easily change by this weekend.
And on that last possession with Zaire, that big run with Zaire, and Bryant capped it off. That was a 3-play drive. So,
and don't forget, too, guys, when we're talking about the running game, we haven't talked about Everett Golson. He's going to have his touches run the football too.
Very true.
Now you're cutting it. Now you're cutting that football really 3.5 to 4 ways now.
Absolutely.
To make it work.
12 carries.
Yeah, Folston and he had with their high carry guys. You have 2 guys with 12 and 2 guys with 8. There's your 40 carries.
Yeah. Well, let's change the ends of the ball here. Let's go defense. Bill, you got anything defensively you saw that kind of said, uh-oh?
I did, and I got jumped on by my friends when I posted on Facebook after it happened. But the Rice's first touchdown, where they threw about a 25-30 yarder against 8 deep and a 3-man rush and found a guy, right up the seam there, with nobody around him.
No,
nobody. you know, the gold seats were closer than those guys were. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where Matthias Farley was and what he was doing. And people would say, well, you know, Collinsworth is out and they got brand new guys and Shoemate hasn't practiced and blah 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 blah. I'm not buying that. These guys all play. A lot of these guys played last year too. Matthias Farley's been around for like 7 years now, hasn't he? I mean, he got burned. He's supposed to quarterback those guys. It was 4 against 8, and they found a guy wide open up the seam. Now, did they button that down as the game went along? I thought they did a better job, but my first thought was, oh, wow.
Yep, that was my reaction too. And actually, Coach Kelly talked about that in his press conference. I don't know if you guys saw that. He said he talked Sunday about the communication problem, and then they asked him again. He said that they were very, very, very concentrated on communication between the secondary this week. So we should see. But that was one of my worries, was the secondary, absolutely. And I saw that touchdown. I said, oh, no, here we go. Because that made it 7-7. That was early, and I was like, yeah, that just typical Notre Dame football for you right there. But
that if you look at the secondary, and Collinsworth is out, what, maybe a couple weeks, they said?
At least, yeah.
Okay, so that hurts. He's a captain. So now you look at the tackle stats. I'm looking at the tackle stats right now. Your leading tackler was Joe Schmidt, who's Rudy in 2014. He's just a cool dude out there. You know, he's just a cool dude. But does he look like your stereotypical D1 middle linebacker, inside linebacker? No. He was your leading tackler, 8 tackles. But then, Farley is tackling. Shoemate's tackling. Drew Tranquil, a freshman, walked in off the field from Carroll High School in Fort Wayne. He had 3 tackles in that game. You know.
Yeah. I think he's going to be good. He's a fluid athlete.
Yeah, he is real good. He is real good. In fact, the brother that's still back at Carroll might even be better too. But this guy's pretty good.
Is he looking to go to Notre Dame or no?
Well, I don't know what happened. He's out for the year. He banged up his knee, and he's not going to be able to play football this year. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he was on their radar with him too or not. I don't know. But this guy's good. But I think they need to be better. I mean, look what happened last year in their inside linebackers. They were beaten up. You know, they beat up all year on Calabrese, Jarrett Grace, Dan Fox when he played. That was a real sore spot, didn't you think, last year? I mean, it was a real the underbelly of the defense was right there.
Yeah, no doubt. The linebackers last year, especially. I mean, I understand we had Fox back, and I understand that Grace was there. And I think now when we get Grace back, Joe Schmidt. I mean, I understand he's a walk-on 5th-year guy. I mean, he played well. He was everywhere. I mean, he's flying around. That's the kind of thing you want to see. When you get Grace back, and you can combine him with Jalen. Joe Schmidt, and then you kind of have some of the freshmen coming in. You're getting everybody some experience, and you don't have a halfway bad linebacking core.
My fear is, guys, and tell me if you have the same kind of apprehensions when they get everybody back. Can they still cover against the good teams? Are teams going to still be able to go just beyond the linebackers and under the safeties, and rip them a new one every time they do that? If you make those linebackers drop 15 yards, that's where we get in trouble.
I'm worried about this week. You got Funchess, who's one of the best receivers in the nation, and Gardner's not a horrible quarterback, and you can say what you want, but I'm worried about this weekend.
Gardner is a horrible quarterback. He just plays out of his mind against Notre Dame.
Either way.
There's a lot of other outside of the arm strength, because I don't think his arm strength is nearly as good as Everett Golson's, unless I've missed something. But there's a lot of similarities in the way Golson and Gardner can play, because they can improvise and make plays on the run. They can take broken plays and just get things done. Roll out, scramble, drop back, break, contain, make defenses go crazy. Watching those two guys play a lot of the same kind of style should be a lot of fun. I'll tell you that.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, but let's just hope it's a little more fun for Notre Dame. That's all I got to say about that.
All right,
I went up there. Going up there last year, I covered that game at Michigan last year, and Notre Dame just never really got any kind of rhythm in that game. If you remember, I don't know how well you guys remember that game, but
Yeah, I was there.
Were you there? Okay. Tommy Rees kept trying, and I think he was making plays. Tommy Rees played a pretty good football game. A lot of the other guys didn't get the job done. Like the defense didn't get the job done, but they never had a real rhythm in that game. With the way the offense is now and the way Golson runs it, I think you have a better chance to sustain rhythm offensively, and I think that's going to be a big key on Saturday.
Yeah, and kind of to elaborate on the defensive side when you kind of just brought that up. To me, like as a whole, last year you were talking about Tommy making plays and how our defense didn't do anything. Our defense as a whole last year didn't do anything at all, and it's the Diaco scheme. Let them go down the field. That takes away from your offense then and whatnot. I think going into this week with Gardner, who's very turnover prone, I understand we gave up big play against Rice. I'm fine with giving up 1 or 2 big plays. If we're being aggressive towards Gardner, who's already turnover prone, maybe forcing him into a couple ill-advised throws that he wouldn't normally make, and let's make him turn the ball over. Let's make him beat us. And I just think our defensive scheme and mindset with the new coordinator Van Gardner is just, I think it fits perfectly for kind of playing a guy like Gardner. He's like Denard, a little less electric. You throw some things at him, he doesn't seem like the most smart player. He doesn't seem like he knows what you're going to do when he's behind. He's behind center. He looks at your defense. He doesn't seem to just be able to pick you apart. So I feel you throwing stuff at this guy, you bringing 6 guys off the edge or however many you want to bring, and I feel like we could force him into a lot of turnovers.
I think you got to mix up where you bring it. And I think you're right. They talked a lot about that on TV again ad nauseum. The attack, defense, attack, and which wore me out just listening to that for 3.5 hours. But it's true. I think if you commit a guy like Gardner from a different directions and confuse him, you got to show something and bring something someplace else. He's a guy I think who's shown he can be rattled into making mistakes, and I think you're going to have to get a lot of good push up front. You're going to have big games out of guys like Jerron Jones. Anawalu, this is a Jalen Smith kind of a game.
Yep.
He could be all over the field, just wreaking havoc everywhere, and that's where you need him in a game like this with these kind of athletes.
Definitely.
So, what do you think offensively? We can each give our little take here. If you guys watched a little bit of the App State game at all, I didn't. I was out tailgating, but I caught a little bit. I watched some highlights, and I kind of watched like the first half. Just kind of getting a preview. It seemed to me like App State was kind of doing what they wanted to as far as running up the middle. It didn't seem like Michigan's interior defensive line held up that well. What do you think? I guess, have you seen anything that you think we can do well to exploit them or anything along those lines?
You talking to me?
Either of you, it doesn't matter.
Go ahead, Bill.
I didn't get to really see any of the highlights of the game, so I don't know what they did against App State. But what I'm thinking is you can't let Michigan keep the football. They'll want to maybe break off some big plays, but I think they'll also be real happy just kind of moving the ball methodically downfield and not trying to light you up all the time. Whereas Notre Dame when you turn it around, I think Notre Dame, they want to strike. They want to strike, and they want to get 8, 9, 10, 12 per play and keep the chains moving and keep the pace of play moving. I don't think Michigan wants to do that. I think Michigan would prefer to keep a normal of a pace of game, I think, and not try to go at a high, in fifth gear with everything they do.
They want to keep the ball out of Everett's hands. No lie, I can totally see that.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you can hand off the ball, Michigan run the football. You've got good wide receivers. You know that. I mean, Funchess, how long has he been around? I mean, he's on his 6th year now, isn't he?
Feels like it.
6th or 7th.
I mean, I think the way the teams approach offense is a little bit different, which that kind of intrigues me how each team will defend the other, because it's going to be a different kind of a pace depending on who has the football.
Well, yeah, and it's not like we can just sit on the pass either. I mean, you got Derek Green, 15 carries, 170 yards. So, I mean, there's a couple threats there, and Gardner can take off at any second too. So,
I don't know how seasoned their O-line is. I mean, I know they had the All-American last year. Trying to look at their lineup here in their roster. I mean, their offensive line. There's a sophomore. They're starting a sophomore in there.
I think I was reading some things. Their offensive line is, okay. It's a solid offensive line. It's going to come down to us stopping the run. If we need to make Gardner beat us with his arm, and which that will entail hopefully throwing him into a couple turnovers. But we cannot let them run for 200-plus yards against us. We have to stop the run. We have to keep Gardner in the pocket and make him beat us with his arm.
What did he have last week? Was that number you quoted?
Gardner?
Yeah.
Gardner was 13 for 4.
No, you're running back.
Derek Green, 15 carries for 170 yards.
Okay.
1 touchdown.
If Michigan runs, for between 150 200 or more, I don't think Notre Dame can win a game like that.
No.
And I think, and if they do it right, I'm looking at their offensive line. Hey, check this out. Their left tackle, first true freshman, Mason Cole, first true freshman to start at tackle in Michigan history, start an opener.
Wow. Yeah.
And only the sixth.
A little nervous.
And only the sixth. He's the first one to start on the first season opener, and they've had 6 guys total ever start on the offensive line as freshmen, including some pretty good names here too. So
if I'm Jerron Jones, I'm licking my chops. I can tell you.
I was gonna say
right after it.
Night game, primetime Notre Dame Stadium. It's that's a big place to be stepping in as a freshman. So,
Michigan, I think, is kind of has the luxury they can do things backwards too. I mean, I think they set up the run by passing the football. Usually the conventional wisdom says you set up the pass by running the football. I think Michigan can do it the other way around. If they lull you to sleep and start hammering you up the middle or off the edge, thinking that situationally you play that chess game, are we going to pass or throw? What do you do on first down? How well do you get first down? Are you at 2nd and 3 a lot, 2nd and 4? Or are you looking at a lot of 2nd and 7s?
Yep, that's going to be huge in the game.
All right. Well, I want to get your guys' keys to the game offensively and defensively. Bill, we'll let you go first. Let's go offense.
Key on offense for Notre Dame. I'm gonna step out of the box here, guys. I'm gonna say offensive line. They're gonna ride these guys. They say it's an athletic offensive line. They're gonna have to use that speed and athleticism up front. It's a good unit. Let Nick Martin lead the way and get the job done. And I think this is cliche as Rockne, but I think Notre Dame's offensive line can dictate this entire football game.
Absolutely. Brett?
Yeah, I agree. We control the line of scrimmage. That's the key to every game, obviously. But I honestly believe our offensive line, we have great experience. We have great athleticism. Like I said, I see holes in that defense running the football, and we have great running backs in the 3 that we have. If we can run the ball effectively and kind of do like what we did last week, we lulled Rice to sleep a little bit. We were pushing downfield, we were running the football. Then next thing you know, play action, hit Fuller deep. If we can control the game by running the ball effectively, like Bill said, let's get a 5-yard first down run. Let's go 2nd and 5. Then that opens up every single thing that you can do. It all just comes down to, can we effectively run the football? And if we can effectively run the football, I don't see any reason why we don't win by 2 touchdowns. But there's going to be drives, obviously, that they stop us, and there's going to be drives where we have success. It's just a matter of how much success can we have, and that is just going to – if we can effectively run the ball, I feel like we can control the entire game, and that suits us the best. As much as I would love to see Everett slinging it around, which I'm sure he's going to throw 20 or so times, which is no big deal to me, I just think everything just boils down to that. Controlling the line of scrimmage through the offensive line, effectively running the football. Give Brian his carries, give Folsom his carries, give Cam his carries. And I just think that'll make for a long night for that defense.
You guys kind of took my keys away from me, but Yeah, you're reading my mind over here. But you obviously offensive line. We got to be big. We got to play well. But I guess I'll just say, Everett, you got to make plays. That's my key. You just got to make plays. You got to be big. We can't get too big for the moment. I think we got to compose ourselves, and Everett's got to make plays. So that's my key offensively. How about defensively?
Defensively, I think the obvious thing is to make a pass rush, but I'm going to put the emphasis. I think the deep four, the corners and safeties, really have to have a big game. They've got to step up. They've got to play better than they did collectively as they did last week. They're going to have to. Shoemate's going to have to grow up in a hurry. Matthias Farley's going to have to be a leader back there. They know they don't have Collinsworth. Get over that. Let's be better. We don't know if we're going to have Russell or not, or any of those guys. In fact, we know we're not going to have them this week unless they make some sort of crazy announcement tomorrow. Who knows? But hey, what would be typical of Notre Dame to open up that can of worm tomorrow?
There you go. Why not?
They've already trolled Michigan hard today, so I would not. Do not be surprised.
About 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, they'll make the announcement. Like all the sports writers and all the beat writers are like half asleep, not doing anything. They're cleaning out their notebooks. They're getting ready to head to Notre Dame and get their room. And Notre Dame's going to have a press conference at 4 o'clock today. See what happens.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first.
What do you think about that, guys?
But,
are they going to get those guys back?
I agree with. I don't know. I want them back, but at the same time, I'm just going to prepare for the worst. And I just don't know. I don't know what all entails because they haven't given out anything. Yeah, they haven't said anything, so you can't sit here and say, they might be back in 2 weeks. So.
No, you got to play with what you got, and I think that's why I think the deep backs are really going to have to play big, especially if they can't get a pass rush and contain Gardner in the pocket. They let him run around and do Golson-like stuff. That's going to be a tough shootout, and that makes Notre Dame have to score a lot of points to win.
And that was my key, was the secondary. You got to step up. You just got to. It's time to play D1 college football and act like we belong there instead of lack of communication. That just doesn't cut it for me. So,
look, we have great young talent back there in Redfield. Shoemate's a fifth-year senior. He drives me nuts sometimes. He just seems lost all the time. But at some point, when we find out what's wrong with Kavari going on with that situation, Cole Luke's young. We have great young athletes back there. It's just a matter of growing up. And this weekend's going to be a huge test for him. That's kind of, I agree with you guys there. There's no way that you can't say defensively, what are they going to do to win us the game? So they need to be in the right places at the right times. You need some luck. You need things to go your way. So as far as this whole academic, issue goes, we never talked about it initially. I don't really know what to think of it anymore. At first, I was thinking, oh, God, this is terrible. And then a little bit more kind of came out, okay, maybe it's not as bad as we thought. And then it kind of just keeps dragging on. And, every day now we're like, okay, well, we expect an announcement today. Okay, well, we expect an announcement tomorrow. And now Brian Kelly says, if I get them back tomorrow, they're playing this weekend. I don't know what to think as far as why it's dragged out. I've seen that the investigation has been over since last, Wednesday or something, I believe, sometime last week. You have DeVaris Daniels' dad has been tweeting.
He's out there a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know. DeVaris is tweeting himself. And what I don't want to happen is I don't want those guys to come back, which I do want them to come back, but I don't want DeVaris to come back and be, back, and then now Brian Kelly's like, well, I'm going to have to suspend you for a game because you violated whatever policy that we have for tweeting on social media. That would just imagine that. Okay, DeVaris, you can play, but just kidding because you tweeted.
That would be worst case scenario right there. Let's just get some resolution to it. Yeah. I mean, they'll tell us eventually in Notre Dame fashion. They'll get around to it when they're good and ready. They are the masters outside of Washington D.C. The best masters of spin are in South Bend, Indiana, and so they control things at their own pace. They know how to manipulate and maneuver the media. They're very good at that. Mainly because the media will follow. we are lemmings. We will go where they kind of tell us to go. So we'll just keep following them around. But question for you guys: who is the defensive leader of this football team right now?
Gotta be
Bray.
Gotta be Jalen Smith. The dude's just everywhere. There's no way I can't not say that.
I agree on a level, but at the same time, what about Joe Schmidt? Why not him? Why can't he be a leader? Fifth-year guy. I mean, he's got. That's just my.
I'll be curious come about week 4 or 5. Let's give him about 4 or 5 games in, regardless of the record. But who has established themselves as the go-to guy? I mean, you had the run with Manti for a couple years. I think Bennett Jackson was a great leader last year on the defense for them, even though he kind of struggled on them. I thought he finished well as a senior for Notre Dame and played very well and played well in the big games. I think Jarrett Grace could be one if he's healthy and if he's in there. They looked for Fox last year was a leader, but I'm looking for that defined guy right now that's Notre Dame's go-to guy on defense. It may take a while to find one.
Yeah, and it might be Jalen, it might be Schmidt, it could be a lot of guys, honestly. So,
well, he's the best player.
Jalen, to me, is more of a lead-by-example guy, way less vocal. As far as a vocal guy, I think that's what you're kind of asking there, Bill.
Yeah.
Is I think it's got to be Austin Collinsworth. He pretty much runs that back end of that defense and sees the entire field.
With them not in there, who's your guy then?
Well, I'm hoping by week 4 or 5, like Bill said, he'll be back there. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. You got to go Redfield. That dude has to step up and start making plays and being a vocal leader. The only reason I said Collinsworth is because after a practice, or actually it was at the pep rally, he stepped up and kind of said, he made his statement. To me, that's him being that vocal leader. It would make sense to me that he is doing that in front of the team. So, but if you need to pick a guy right now, I would hope it's Redfield because of the position that he's playing. He's the general back there right now and needs to be that guy.
As good as Jalen Smith is, I think, of course, we go back to the suspension thing. Your best defensive leader is suspended. I mean, I think Russell's your best football player on the defense. No disrespect to Max Redfield, who I think is great, and Jalen Smith, who is great and going to be great. Kavari Russell is probably the best football player on the football team next to Everett Golson right now. And it's too bad they don't have him out there. But until he comes back, you wonder who's going to take those reins. With him out and Collinsworth out, those are the 2 guys I thought of that would be the leaders of the defense. Now you go into the Michigan game, you don't have either one of them.
Yep.
At least as of 10:15 Eastern time on Thursday night, they don't have Kavari Russell.
Oh, that's right.
Don't count your chickens yet, guys. There's a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
What time's kickoff? 7:30.
Yeah.
7:30.
About 6:30 rolls around. Ryan Kelly will be having a presser in the media room.
I want to get your guys'. Yeah. God.
That would be epic. That would be a first time.
That would be pretty cool. I want to get your guys' thoughts on
the press box at Notre Dame would be crazy.
Yeah. Notre Dame.
Ohio State.
Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
What do we think about that?
Oh man, that started my troll session today. My rant.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, give me the condensed version.
Well, I hate Michigan, and I don't want to say I hate their fans, but I strongly dislike them, and I know it's more personal for me because growing up in the area, there's for some reason quite a few of them that we went to high school with as far as Michigan fans. So all through high school, big rivalry, always going back and forth. And those guys are so stuck on the fact that they think we are scared to play them. That just does not make any sense to me. I understand they may have beaten us 6 out of the last 8 years, whatever, but it's not like they're blowing us out. It's competitive games. They beat us on the last second what Denard in Ann Arbor that year, they beat us with 12 seconds left or something stupid. It's not like last year was a blowout. They're not beating us by 20, 30 a game, and they think that we're scared to play them. When we're replacing them with Texas and Georgia and now Ohio State, that to me is just Jack Swarbrick does not get enough credit. That man is a genius. He just slapped Michigan's athletic director right in the face when they announced that today, 48 hours before the kickoff. And I guess my rant, I just kind of said that, like, it doesn't make any sense to me that Michigan fans are just so stuck on the fact that we're scared to play them, yet we schedule better opponents than them. Georgia's clearly better. Ohio State is clearly better. And okay, Texas is down, but we replaced that Michigan brand, that football brand, immediately with Texas. That replaces that whole brand tradition. That in itself. Now we schedule Georgia. Now we schedule Ohio State. I think it clearly means more. The rivalry and the games mean more to them than it does to Notre Dame, because you can just tell that based on how Notre Dame has now scheduled these opponents, and Michigan's just sitting there doing nothing. They're not scheduling anybody to replace Notre Dame, and now Michigan's night primetime game is Penn State. They need Notre Dame to break attendance records. They needed this game because the Big Ten is so down, and they just have not shown to schedule those non-conference opponents.
They would probably privately tell you that Ohio State and Michigan State are their biggest rivals, that Notre Dame's their third biggest rival. And if you go back to the historical spin on it, guys, I'm a little older than you, so I could bear to this, but you go back to Bo Schembechler, when basically the Big Ten wanted Notre Dame to come in years ago. Notre Dame said no, 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 and no. And I think that if you want to look at that kind of egotistical, aristocratic, my nose is higher than your look upon this whole game, is because Notre Dame refused to join the Big Ten, wouldn't be a part, and said no, thank you. And I think there's that, like, okay, you don't want to be a part of us, we're going to kick your butt. And I think that prevailing thing is going back 30 years on this thing, going back to Holtz and come all the way through the last the last generation of Notre Dame Michigan fans is, well, you didn't want to be a part of us, so we're going to show you. Blah, blah, blah. And that kind of mentality. But you're right. It's not like anybody dominates this series. They've all been great games. I mean, you look at, there's just so many of them have been just epic football games. But Michigan has it. If you lined up a Michigan fan and an Ohio State fan, I'd probably tolerate the Ohio State fan a lot longer than I would a Michigan fan. In most of the ones, at least I know. I don't know about you guys, but my Ohio State brother and fans are probably a lot more free-spirited and willing to be, take a ribbing now and then than Michigan guys. Michigan guys sometimes have no sense of humor at all.
Yeah. Hey, while we're bashing Michigan, you brought up Bo Schembechler, who is their claim to fame. Am I correct? Like, that's their guy?
He's their man. He's their man.
The dude went 2-8 in Rose Bowls and never won a national championship.
That's right. I know. I know, and that's a sore spot for that guy and that program. And they were going out there and they're playing those great USC teams back in the 70s and in the 80s, and Michigan, Big Ten had a hard time, other than Ohio State in like 68, 69 in that area. But now we're going back 45 years. But Michigan, look at the way the Pac-8 and the Pac-10 then evolved. Back then, guys, it was just the Pac-8. Now it's Pac-10. Now it's Pac whatever they are now. But it was Ohio State and USC every year. Yeah. Michigan and USC every year. I mean, maybe UCLA here and there, occasionally Stanford. But, the Washingtons and Oregons and the rest of those guys were non-existent. Cal, non-existent. It was USC or UCLA every year. And back then, Big Ten couldn't beat Southern California.
Which sucks because I hate USC as well.
It's another night.
Speaking of USC, all right, I want to play a little game with you guys here. We don't have a lot of big games this week, but there's a few. I want to play a little pick-em if you guys are up for it, and we'll see who wins this week. And I don't know, maybe there'll be a beer for the winner or something. I will see. So we got the first game, USC Stanford. Pretty big game for week 2 in the old Pac-12. Who do you got, Bray?
Stanford.
Stanford. Well,
first of all, I just want to make sure if I win this, you guys rolled up to buy me a beer, right?
Yes.
Bray.
Okay.
You're good there.
Okay, I just want to make sure one of you is good on this. Okay, so I'll go ahead. Yeah, I still like I like Stanford until somebody can beat them out there in the West, and I think they've now emerged as the big dog in the West Coast.
Okay, I agree. I'm going to go Stanford too. So Stanford across the board there, and then Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. Bray.
Ole Miss really looked like crap, but Vandy is just terrible, so you got to go Ole Miss.
Vandy's very good.
Yeah, better go Miss on that one. I don't know where the game's played, but
I could look it up. Yeah, I don't know.
No, we're picking straight up. We're not picking against the line.
No, we're straight up.
Okay, because we're going against the line. I'm going to take a look and see what Vandy's got. How many they're getting on that.
I'm going to go Ole Miss, but we'll go different here in a second. Then the next game, old Sparty's going into Eugene. It's a big game. I don't know. Who you got, Bray?
I really want to see Oregon fail because they always think that they're fantastic, and every time they play a team with a physical defensive line that can control the line of scrimmage, they always struggle. But I just don't think Michigan State can score enough points, so I have to go Oregon.
Oregon.
Is there a team now, a program in the country that people are still more intrigued by? I don't say they have to like them or not, but they're more intrigued by than Oregon. Because you're always waiting for Oregon to do something big against somebody big, and it never seems to happen. But you're always waiting for it. You know what I mean? You're always waiting for that big game. I'm gonna go Sparty on the West Coast.
Hey.
Pulling the upset. I like Sparty defense.
I'm taking Sparty as well. I'm feeling the Big Ten flavor out on the West Coast prevails. So that's my feeling. And then the big one for me, Ball State, Iowa. Ball State goes into Iowa. Chirp, chirp, chirp. You know, I got Ball State. I got my school all the way. That's my pick. Yeah, I know you guys are gonna. Yeah.
Oh boy, you're struggling.
Am I skipping around here?
Yeah, you might want to say that again.
I'm going Ball State.
Yeah,
Ball State,
that skipped at the end. No, I got you. Okay.
Gotta stick with my school. Gotta stick with the old university. So can't go behind her back. I'm going Ball State.
I will say Iowa cannot afford to lose this game. They really can't afford to go into the Big Ten season with a Ball State loss. No disrespect to the mighty Cardinal or the mighty Mac, by the way, which is they play some pretty good football.
Hey, the Mac is back. That's all it is. Right?
I can see a close game though.
I could see it being close for a couple, maybe a half.
Yeah, it might be close for a half. It may be close the whole game, but I just can't see Ball State winning that game.
No.
I don't care. I mean, it doesn't mean anything to me. I know, big hog over here, Ball State, chirp, chirp. But, no, I got to go Iowa.
What's happened to Iowa? They've kind of really backslid. They're not up on the front anymore in the Big Ten. What happened with that?
No quarterback.
Is that the deal? It means there's been a run for a while for them. Or they just haven't been relevant in the Big Ten, which just seems kind of unusual. They've been so good throughout the 2000s and late 90s, but Iowa is kind of hanging around down there with IU and Purdue and Illinois.
Michigan.
Yeah. Whoa!
Oh, shots fired.
Great. Oh yeah. Officer down. Oh jeez.
All right, well, that brings us to the granddaddy of them all this weekend, Notre Dame, Michigan, under the lights for the last time for the foreseeable future at Notre Dame Stadium. Bray, who you got? And a score. I want a score as well.
Oh God, I hope we just absolutely demolish them, and I hope whoever runs the music at Notre Dame through the PA, I hope that they have something in their head that they're going to play. But Notre Dame won't because it's Notre Dame and we're classy and whatnot. But I know that Brian Kelly took last year's game personal, and I know when he takes something personally, he has been known to make, he makes an effort to make that team look stupid. I hope we just demolish them, and like I said, if we can run the football effectively, I think we can control the game, and that helps us win far, far better if Everett's throwing the ball 45 times a game. I honestly believe we're 17 points better than that team. I think we have 17 points worth more of talent, but it's Notre Dame and Michigan. It's Notre Dame and Michigan. It's going to be a close game. I hope that the crowd is electric. I don't see why it won't be. It's going to be a fantastic time. I'm already getting sick, but I'm still going to come back with no voice. I guess I'll give you a score. Notre Dame's going to put up points. I think it's going to be 42-34.
42-34.
But let's get this on the record. In case this happens, I think we are at least 2 touchdowns better than that team. Just so you know.
All right.
Wow, that's bold. He's coming with the sauce there, man. That's hot sauce. I like the Irish in a shootout 35-31. And Irish come back late to pull it out. They take the lead late to win the game.
I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a shootout, but I also think we might see a little defense. So just to be different, I'm going to go 23-17.
Ooh.
The Irish pull it out.
That sounds like a lot of defense. Oh.
You never know. I got to be different. I got to be that guy.
Let me remind you though one thing. Here's my one fear across the board. They've got that turf down there, which makes Notre Dame fast.
Oh, makes everybody fast.
It makes Michigan really fast.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Michigan across the board is going to be a faster football team. You know what I mean?
I think they're more bruisers. I don't think they have as much speed. But
you don't think so?
No, but who knows really? Nobody really knows.
I'll be curious to see how good the Michigan defense is. How fast the Michigan defense can play.
Yeah, I agree.
Can they play fast?
So what's your plans for the weekend, Bill? You going to the game? What's going on? I think I heard you on the radio talking about it the other day.
I was during the week I get a couple of spots where I talk to the ESPN 102.7 guys who do their show out of Warsaw, and a couple cool guys down there that I talk to usually on Mondays and on Friday afternoons before kickoff. I'll talk to them probably about 4 o'clock tomorrow. I will go to Warsaw and do some softball, and I plan on coming back. I do a lot of umpiring, as Mr. Farwig knows.
That's right.
I do a lot of softball. He's a baseball guy. I'm a softball guy. And I'll do some one last tournament at the CCAC in Warsaw, and I'll come back home and kick up a pizza and a couple of beverages, and I'm going to watch the game.
There you go.
What are you doing, Augie?
Oh, I got to go in the morning. I got to referee some little kid football, so I'll be doing that in the morning down in Indianapolis. I'm going to come back. Got a big Ball State game, so I'm going to watch that. Got a 30 case of Busch Light ready to go for Saturday. So
Busch Light.
Hey, it's the old college choice. So we're gonna crack that open about 3:30 when Ball State kicks off, and hopefully make it through the whole Notre Dame game this time. We're not gonna have a repeat of last weekend. So
what's a 30-pack of Busch Light go for? About $6, $7?
It's about 20. It's $20. It's high price. It's high price cheap beer.
Okay.
I'm not drinking Ham's Light over here.
You're showing your age, Bill.
I'm sorry. I just sounds. This Ham's Light. Hey,
yeah, that's like $11 for a 30-rack. Ham's Light.
I got to tell you this, guys, because I know you know the guy, Bill Sharp. The very first time I ever went to Bill Sharp's house, into Bill Sharp's fridge, in his garage, he had Ham's Light.
Wow. Really?
I do not see him as a Ham's Light guy. But.
Well, this is back in the 80s, so early 90s. So it was, you could buy volume for very cheap back then.
That's pretty funny. Bray, I know you're going to the game, Bray.
Yeah, I'm going. I got a couple. Alexis is coming down with me. She's going to go to the game. you know, the old fiance now, Bill. I don't know if you heard, but
Congrats, yes.
thanks. You know, had to pop it. We were, what, 6 years in this September. I had to do it. So
Oh,
You've
got that.
outkicked your
Yeah,
coverage, dude. I'm just telling you.
I know. We got that out of the way now. So um, she's coming home. She's going to the game with me. She's got a couple friends coming. I have a couple friends coming. First time to Notre Dame. Uh, you know, I haven't decided. I was going to go watch my little cousin play in the old Jimtown Rocket Football League game in the morning.
There you go.
Just depends because I don't want to go out that early. But if the game's not till 11, the Rocket Football game, I'll probably just go out to ND about then. So yeah, I got a lot to show those people. They're coming in tomorrow night, so you know we're gonna try and go to the pep rally. We're gonna try to go to the midnight drum circle. Just showing everybody some of the traditional stuff that never been here. Just gonna show them the ropes. Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I will be drinking beer hopefully by no later than noon. It's
that was
gonna be a
5 hours
blast.
too late last weekend.
Yeah, I had my first beer pop at about 9:30 last weekend.
I beat you. I was 8:30, so
Yeah, well,
not that it's a competition or anything.
Preparation's the key to success at Notre Dame, whether you're on the field or in the parking lot, guys.
you know what's weird about that? Like, I will drink all day tailgating, and like I'll have a decent buzz going, but like there's just something like right when you get into the stadium, it's just like immediate like buzzkill, sober. Like I don't know what it is. Like I could be feeling great, and I get in there, and immediately I'm just focused but like no more. I'm no longer buzzed. It's weird.
So it's intimidating ushers. That's what it is.
Well, it's not fun when you get in there because you're intense. You want to see the game. You're ramped up. You're invested in the game. You're not just kicking back and ordering popcorn and say, "Hey, we're at the ball game." You're dialed in. It's like,
There you go. All right, Bill. I want to get your kind of last thoughts, kind of your wrap up of this weekend. What needs to happen? What you want to see happen? Your time to shine here. Your closing remarks.
Gotcha. I think the first thing Notre Dame needs to do is not worry about the hype of the game, because it's going to be electric. It's about 7 o'clock before that game. That place is going to be going nuts. About a half hour before the game, and they get all ramped up, and the band's going to come out, and they're going to play that victory march, and that place will be nuts. Notre Dame, I think, needs to kind of just keep themselves composed, and then come out and just play their game, play fast, play hard. Don't get caught up in the game, though.
Absolutely. Bray, you got any closing remarks?
Just kind of like going along with what he just said right there in the end. Brian Kelly made it a point. I watched they have like a Watch ND has it's like an inside kind of thing. I don't remember what they call it. Irish Connection, I believe, is what they call it. And they were showing Brian Kelly before the game and telling him, don't just go out and play. Don't think about it too much. Just go out and do what you do and go out and play. And like Bill just said right there, just go out and play the game, have a blast, fly around, just like last week, Rice defense fly around, have fun. Everything should fall into place.
Guys, I don't want to be this person, but I just had someone pop their head in the door saying DeVaris Daniels tweeted, "I'm too hyped right now." Don't mean to read too much into a tweet, but
maybe they know something.
I don't know.
You're the first right here on Straight from the Dome.
That is right. We can thank Brandon Weinkoff, my roommate, for that, for popping his head and telling me that the tweet was sent. So
interesting.
Yeah. So take it for what it's worth. But yeah, in closing remarks for me, I think I'm looking forward to the game. I love playing Michigan. I love the rivalry. It's going to be a great game to watch. Unfortunately, I wish I could be there, but the old $350 ticket dollar price just wasn't in my price range. So, Bill, thanks a lot for being here.
Hey guys,
awesome.
It's a good time, guys. You like hanging with you guys. You guys,
yeah, we'll have to be back very, very soon.
Please.
Talk some more football. So.
Please. I'm looking up. I'm going to try to find DeVaris Daniels' tweet right now. Where you doing this?
Yeah, I couldn't find. I got.
We're not ending this right
now. All right, we'll wait till we find this tweet. So, if anyone was wondering, Seattle was 20, Green Bay 10, third quarter.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So,
there we go. Yeah, 17 minutes ago. I'm way too hype right now.
I don't know.
And 44 minutes ago, he tweeted some smiley face emojis.
Yeah, he had a LOL on the end of that too. So,
yeah. So that probably means he's transferring.
He's coming to Ball State. He's on the way to Iowa.
The papers are in the mail right now, dude. Well, you watch. Something's going to happen in the morning.
It is.
Something's going to happen tomorrow morning.
I could.
They'll send up. I'll wake up. I'll check my email because I'm still on the media email list. So I get all the media press releases from Michael Birch from the SID's office. So it won't shock me if I look down at my email tomorrow morning about 8-9 o'clock and say Notre Dame press conference at 11. I'm not predicting that, but I won't be surprised if it happens.
Yeah.
I know we're trying to wrap this up, but real quick, if this were to happen, does this change like having DeVaris back, Kavari, Ishak? I don't mind so much about Kendall or Hardy. Those three guys coming back, what is that? I personally think that changes things drastically, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But offensively, having DeVaris would be huge. I think that validates my 14-point prediction better. What do you think, real quick?
The defense. I think the defensive guys make more of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive guys coming back make a bigger impact. If that's true, if that would happen, that really tilts the scales. That makes it, to me, now I'm not going to say 17 points better, but that's 10 to 14 points difference now.
I feel a lot more comfortable going into the game, definitely.
Twitter, isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's crazy how Twitter and social media affects it now, and that's pretty cool. But
hey, it's changed how I do high school football, guys. I spend more of my time doing this, tweeting on Friday night on the sideline than anything else. And between 7:30 and 10:30, this is all I'm doing, which is crazy. I never thought I'd be doing that, but it's crazy. Anyways, I had a good time, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead, Augie.
I was just saying, thanks for coming on. We're definitely going to have you on later in the season. Heck, you can come back anytime. You can come back every week if you want.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, now that I've learned how to do a Google Hangout, man, I'm going to be a monster now. You watch. I'm going to be doing this with everybody I know, man. I'm going to get on Google Plus, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. I had a blast. Great content. Great insight. Anytime you want, shoot me a text. We want you back anytime. So
gotcha.
It definitely won't be the last time this season. So
I appreciate your patience and your technical savvy and ideas that got me hooked up here.
No problem.
Don't forget,
guys.
Oh, one last thing, Bray. I was gonna say, don't forget you can follow Bill on the old Twitter machine, and you can follow Bray and I as well. Also, the Straight to the Dome Twitter page. They're all on there. We've been tweeting about Bill all day because we've been so excited about it. So, other than that, I'm done. All I want to say is go Irish and muck Michigan.
Yes. All right, guys.
Hey, Augie.
Yeah.
Call lots of outs, dude.
Yeah.
Outs and strikes. That's how we get paid, my man.
Outs and strikes. We don't get paid for walks, balks, and...
That's right. That's right.
Walks, balks, and anything else. We want outs and strikes, baby.
That's right.
Take care, guys.